starting over. This is the end.
If it cuts to credits, I'm going to be so confused. I hope it don't. I really hope it don't, because I don't need that kind of confusion right now. Oh, good. Okay. Well then. I write it on.
Just a pawn. Watch me.
Oh, hi.
Think you can define me?
Can't I just ground smash or something? Oh yeah, right mouse button. Right mouse button. Do the Donkey Kong spam. It worked in Smash Brothers, it'll work here. I'm just gonna keep clicking it. Oh, spacebar works. Okay, this is getting a little slow now. Can I run? Yeah, kinda, but there's stuff in my way. Yeah, I'm not fighting y'all. Y'all are just infinite. Okay. I'm bigger than y'all. Y'all gonna tell me there's no way out? Then I'll open it. Its animation just playing on such a short loop stands out weird. Very nicely done model though. Oh, hi. She found the Tommy gun.
Allison! Audrey! Is that you in there? Come on! Keep moving! We'll get you through! Tom! Make us some trouble!
Oh no. Oh no. Well, he found my friend.
Audrey! Run!
I'm so confused, but I'm going. Go kind of requires the door to be open. So I'm just gonna keep smashing stuff till the door is open. Oh, and he's back there fighting too, right. Oh, hey, Porter. I'm glad he's okay.
I got this! Just keep fighting!
How can they tell me apart from the Ink Demon? Like, legitimately.
The Ink Demon rises!
Oh, hi, Sammy.
Surrender yourself to the Lord of the Dark Puddles! It's
Hi,
time
Sammy.
to believe!
Hi, Sammy. Aw. Then he goes a Wilhelm scream of all things. Oh, beautiful. So out of place, but beautiful. Random Wilhelm scream. They're always out of place, but they're always beautiful.
We can do this! Keep fighting!
Where's Henry? He's the only person I haven't seen yet.
Keep going! We'll be alright!
I feel bad for Joey, though. Love the Ink Demon is just letting me do all this. He's not even putting up a fight. No struggle, no nothing. Just... I have possessed him, apparently. The possessor has become the possessee. Can y'all really get out of my way? Y'all really are not, like, they're not even inconveniences. I have no health bar. I'm sure if I took enough damage, something might happen, but...
Now what?
Need some help?
Oh, hi, Henry.
You came!
Some battles are worth fighting for.
Hi,
Even a
Henry.
million times. Come on.
Hi, Henry.
I found a projector up ahead. Run for it.
Yeah,
Is mine, and the cycle will continue.
Well then, we'll just have to do better next time.
I kind of feel bad for, like, as little Bendy, he was friendly. And I was hoping that that would mean that he was become friend. Kind of figured that he'd save us from the Wilson monster and then be like, I don't know. I really don't know how I imagined that playing out. I don't know. I think you're looking. That's not how you projector. That's how you burn your eyes out. Those things have really bright lights. Do not stare into the projector. You will not become part of the movie. You will become the blind. I don't want to say anticlimactic, but that today has felt oddly paced. We'll say the pacing was strange. And this house has seen better days. Oh, I know this house. I recognize this
My
house.
father once told me that just because we're born of darkness doesn't mean we belong to it. We're always free to choose. And here, at the very beginning, there's a choice to make. My father's cartoon world was now mine, to rule, to watch over, and to protect. I can make the cycle more bearable for my friends inside. But as for me, I'm the first of my kind. Born of ink, but living in flesh. Joey's world is escaping into ours. So, what's next?
Hey!
Can really say.
He has become friend, just not of his own will. I don't know. I am confused. Now we're left with the question of... Excellent credit sequence as always, though. The first Bendy game had a really good credit sequence, too. So, just gonna appreciate this for a moment. Funny, I know a David Rivas, but not that one, apparently. That or he's living a double life and I just don't know it. Alright, are we to the regular part of the credits now? Nope, something going on. See, that's what I was about to ask about. And I suspect there's a third game gonna come. My turn yet? There we go. Okay, we're to the credits. Okay, as far as gameplay goes, okay, let me backpedal. I enjoyed the game, but as far as gameplay goes, I feel like again, I have harped on this, it's a bit of a dead horse, but I forgot Jacksepticeye was in this, and I'm just brain fried for a moment. Making Bendy less of an environmental threat, making it so that Bendy was just a glorified countdown timer that would randomly just, oh, you better find a hiding space when 5, 4, 3, 2, like, that took so much of the depth and tension away that the first game had by having Bendy be a part of the environment that you could actually stumble across, that you had to worry about where he was at. The layout of the levels in this game might not have worked as well with that like they did in the first game, but I feel like the way they went about it in this game was a downward move, and it just, once I figured out that it worked that way and that he wasn't in the environment, I no longer had to worry about where's the ink demon? He could be around any corner. It was just, this again. Likewise, the Butcher Gang and the little ghost girl, I mean, I like that the Butcher Gang got to be in this and that, you know, they were creative and unique and interesting in that regard. I both am and am not a fan of the ghost girl. I like that it's creative, I like that it's different, and I like that we had some lore reasons explaining why there was another character, but I'm not a huge fan of jump scares, or specifically loud jump scares, in a game where they don't fit as well. Thematically, it was a very interesting character, and it fit the character, but boy did it work. I like that it was limited to specific areas, though, and that it wasn't a always everywhere thing. Well implemented as far as, you know, it did its job of making me jump, and it was spook. But again, not the biggest fan of jump scares. I love the flow and other abilities, but we still have the problem of the plot has built up the Gent Corporation as knowing more, as being more integral to this, and I assume that that's meant to be a plot thread that will be answered in the third game, but you still you have the question of what will, you know, the lens from the first game that lets you see the glowing ink. Now, we could assume that the glowing ink was Joey leaving messages for Henry, but we also have messages that appear to have been left by previous cycles of Henry. There's a lot of questions I have there that I thought might get answered, but since it looks like there'll be a third game, maybe that will answer some of those questions. There's a lot of questions I still have floating around. Mechanically, I think the game is overall an improvement. I like the layout of the areas. It's visually gorgeous, and now I have greater questions now even to do. Now I have to ask questions about what's with the rainbow ink and all of that. To me, that would be kind of poking fun at the transition from black and white film to colored film. But maybe the third game will play into that more. Overall, it's a very pretty game. I don't think there's a separate New Game Plus thing. It has not come up and told me that I unlocked anything. Let me check. That's not what I'm looking for. Arrival. That's not helping. No. I guess we'll use it this way. Continue until you reach the end of the game. You can do the side quest for Betty take the train. Yeah, we already did that. Oh, well, that's funny. The animals needed to solve Alice's puzzle. Rabbit, bear, bird, and fox are a reference to Bonnie, Freddy Fazbear, Chica, and Foxy. One of the Lost Ones clues, the fox thinks the rabbit smells of elderberry as a nod towards Monty Python. Not what I was looking for in the slightest. Well, there's the archives. I don't remember if that button was there before. Alright. Whoa. Welcome to the Archives. Dark Revival filled with numerous characters, each holds a critical role to play in the progression of the game. Here in the Archives, you learn a little bit more about them in an up-close, personal way. Feel free to explore. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Difficult character to balance. At first, players were purposely led to believe he's a one-note character, evil with an over-the-top villain personality. As the story progresses, we see other sides of the character. Really? I thought he was evil the whole time. I don't think it was ever made unclear that he was clearly evil. The plot wasn't really deep enough for us to have a point where we doubted that. Or at least I didn't. Oops. One draft, Wilson was written as a servant of Nathan Arch Jr., a separate character at the time, but the story made more sense when the two characters became one, eliminating a lot of needless narrative complexity. Audrey is a kind-hearted rogue with courage. We really use the phrase kind-hearted rogue way too much. I don't even off the top of my head know what, in essence, that's trying to refer to. I just see it narratively used a lot. Courage, determination, flaws, and a deep, dark past to make her story work. Needed a newcomer to the studio, and Audrey was perfect fresh eyes to help experience the adventure. From day one of production, we knew people didn't connect with Audrey, that if they didn't connect with her by the end of the game itself wouldn't be successful. Fortunately, she turned out to be memorable indeed and stands out from other members of the cast. I believe this archive area was added in a later patch, so it was not part of the game at release. So this information is theoretically written after they've gotten player reception, so they would be able to speak of it in the past tense. Think Machine. Designed by Thomas Connor of the Gent Corporation. Again, I think the Gent Corporation is going to be a big part of the next game if there's a next game. Plot-wise, it appears to heavily hint towards there being a next game. Whether a next game actually comes to fruition is anybody's guess. If this ends on the second game, I'm going to be so sad because it will be the second ink-based series that I will have seen that was supposed to be a trilogy that ended on the second game. It's not a lot of times, but weird that it would have happened twice, so I'm hoping that they do get a third entry. I still dream of the day we get an Epic Mickey 3 because Epic Mickey 2 spent half of its runtime trying to build up to a finale that we'll now never get. Which is one reason I feel like the second entry in trilogies often ends up being weaker because they end up spending a lot of their energy trying to lay groundwork for the third entry. So if the third entry doesn't happen, you just get a really weird entry. The Ink Demon. Okay, as the world of Dark Revival became more complex and established, we realized the Ink Demon's design needed a complete rework to match our new tone. Previous versions of his appearance looked absolutely silly when placed in the world alongside other characters. No amount of creepy music or screen effects could conceal how out of place he looked. The Ink Demon needed to look different than everything in the world, and to show a natural progression of its evolution as Wilson held the cycle in place. I mean, if you mean his, big buff anger form at the end of the last game, yeah, that would have looked weird to have through the whole game. So I like the way they handled that. Oh my goodness, how many rooms is there? Henry, the original cycle breaker. Henry Stein is the ghost of a man who lost his purpose years ago. Once fueled with finding a way to escape the tortures of the Ink Demon and finding his way home to his wife, Henry is now left with the cold reality that he is merely a recreation of the person he thought he was. Saved as a special surprise for fans of the Bendy and the Ink Machine game, Henry was strictly omitted from all public discussion of the character during the entire production, which spanned several years. Henry returned with a very satisfying face reveal. Yeah, that worked out well. Returning for another victory over the Ink Demon, Allison is always the voice of reason, a beacon of hope. Allison's design was carefully upgraded from the previous game to maintain her personality, but with more fidelity. The purpose of meeting Allison so early in the campaign was to introduce the player to a familiar face after the main introduction. At the start, Allison was able to serve as the motivating force for Audrey until the true plot kicked in later. Boris. Tom is Allison's silent protector and the only Boris clone involved in the main story. Where is Boris the Wolf? Rumor has it during the events of the game, Boris is experiencing a dark survival story of his own. Yeah, the game, Boris and the Dark Survival. Good game. Actually, I need to go back and play that at some point because I think they added a bunch to it. That'll be something I do on my own time, probably. Oh my goodness, who are you people? Who are you? Oh, Audrey. The unknowing daughter of an animation planner, Audrey has blocked out the memory of her past after losing her father, but his role in her life was not over. A talented animator and artist, her skill landed her a job at Arch's Gate. Was it fate that led her to reunite with Joey Drew's machine, the machine of her creation, or was it planned? Wilson. Haunted by the impossible shadow of Nathan Arch, Wilson, Arch Jr., sought to achieve something that would make his father proud. By luck, he stumbled across the ink machine and was able to become the cartoon world's new master. Holding the cycle in place, he continued his experiments that could not fully be realized until the ink demon was purged. However, unnaturally entering to and from the ink realm has taken its toll on his physical being, slowly robbing him of his health. Donut! No, you can't have it. That's funny. Oh no, I've got to deal with the paintings. Nathan Arch Sr. was everything Joey Drew wasn't. He worked hard, built up for nothing, and never compromised his integrity. Joey had big dreams, but Nathan accomplished his own dreams. He and his wife Tessa raised his son with as much love and care as they could, despite his career pressures. Sadly, his son did not share his natural talent for business and enterprise. Oh, so much talking, much lightheadedness. Yo, Joey. The man, the legend, the memory. Creating this version of Joey Drew was both an exciting and daunting process. It was clear from the start that this Joey would be different from the one in the original game. This was a man with all the guilt from a past life, but without the experience to understand it. The real Joey Drew made many mistakes, but ultimately learned from them. This doesn't absolve him from his sins, but at the end of his life, he was able to help correct some of them and help fight the darkness that he created. Yeah, do you have anything to say? Ah! Bendy, the iconic imp, was redesigned for Dark Revival to stand out a bit from the traditional cartoon appearance from giving him a full suit of clothes. Did he have clothes on before? I don't honestly remember. He posed some minor challenges, specifically creating a face that sported the classic Bendy smile, but still managed to be heartwarming to the right conditions. He's a fan favorite, so his design had to be just right. During production, we originally envisioned Bendy to talk with a series of cute squeaks to contrast the dark, low voice of the ink demon, but this turned out to be distracting and the idea was scrapped. Oh, but I'd like to squeaky Bendy. Great. Barley, oh good, it's the same. Barley, Charlie, and Edgar, the three original members of the Butcher Gang, were formed from the ink machine, deconstructed by Alice Angel for body parts, and bond together. The phrasing there is a little weird. Bond together to stay alive and with sneak attacks on their prey. In Dark Revival, we meet an artificial fourth member of the gang, Carly, the Ghost Girl. Although when you begin to examine her closely, she appears to be only a shell, with perhaps someone inside. Yeah. Like, really nice, interesting designs. They've advanced quite a bit from their prior games' design, where they were just kind of all generic bipedal. Again, interesting designs, but you can tell they did a lot of changes to the design, like the spider mouth being on top and him having more of a distinct crane head. Liar. Why liar? But yeah, I do get what they mean, that it does look to be kind of a suit. Or it could be a skull with glowing eyes in it. And then there's the cardboard cutout. Yo! The Keepers, Wilson's deadly guards and scientists. They aren't perfect, but they'll get the job done, no matter the cost. They're responsible for pressing the ink demon inside a smaller form, keeping his power sealed until Audrey comes along and unknowingly changes the situation. The Keepers were visually designed to reflect the dangers and evils of the ink machine itself. Faceless beings made of gears and wires with no sense of morality, ordered around like cattle, a creation living with no purpose. Oh. Yo, Samir! Why you got a thing over here? Samir! The famous music composer of the studio, Sammy Lawrence, originally had a slightly larger role in the story of Dark Revival, but in a story already filled with so many characters, making them all play a meaningful part became challenging. He was ultimately sidelined in favor of telling a more coherent storyline, although it is interesting to note that Sammy Lawrence appears to have mastered the flow ability long before Porter and Audrey could wield it. I never saw him use it, so okay. Lord Amok, ruler of a sewer cult. Lord Amok illustrates how the world of the Ink had continued to develop into different societies deep within the darkest places. Although he was weak in a fight, his name will never die. Alice Angel, the self-appointed queen of the studio. Alice... I thought I heard a voice. Alice Angel is one of the most memorable faces in the Bendy world. Forever lost in a tide of insanity, she is an absolute delight to write for as a character. An angel with many layers, time will only tell if this inky temptress will reappear. Yeesh, I don't like you sticking out at me. King Widow. Ink widows have begun to infest where the light grows darkest. Their king, its biggest and most feared, will only emerge from his nest when its young are threatened. The shape of his head reminds me of the spider butcher, which is probably intentional. I'll save you for last. Lurker. The Lurker, or Steve, as he has come to be known, was originally created as a brute-type enemy that would free roam the way the Lost Ones do, but ultimately it felt unnecessary as the random ink demon encounters already fulfilled the role of putting the player on edge while exploring previously traversed locations. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. Having him relegated to be a glorified countdown timer does not put the player on edge. Having him be in the environment like the first game puts the player on edge. Like, don't get me wrong, it's still a beautiful game, but I think the Alien Isolation style of just having a present threat in the world that's physically present in the world is a lot more tension building than knowing there's a countdown timer somewhere running in the background. Oh, it's time to be attacked. Oh, you got this many seconds. Hope you're within range of a hiding spot. I would rather have had him roaming around and had the risk of me having to try to outrun him and get to safety and just, yeah. I feel like that's such a missed opportunity, so I harp on that a little. The Lurker found a much better calling as an unlikely ally, effectively expanding him into more than just a typical enemy. Yeesh. Ship ahoy, Dudley. Yeah, you shouldn't have drawn a kid and a crab. The machine didn't know which one you wanted. The demented invention of Wilson, created to serve the dual purpose of dethroning the ink demon in the cartoon world, but also upstaging Joey Drew in the eyes of Wilson's father, Nathan Arch. Neither of these happened. Ship ahoy Dudley is a mysterious sailor with his own eerie grin, similar to that of Bendy. Along with his sidekick, Crackle the Crab, it is unknown just what kind of cartoon adventures they would have had together. Yeah, because they got fused together into one. It's a teleporter incident. That was Wilson's problem all along. He should have just drawn one character. Anybody else in here to read, to see, to do? What is that? Why is it glow? That's just a light flower. Why did the flowers make light? I like to imagine they're just spotlights and floor lighting in the studio that just got twisted into being lights, cycle breakers. Okay, well, I think that's about everything. Overall, again, it is a very pretty game. And oh, hello. Betty, faithful maid, among other things, to Wilson. Betty was an important character to the story of Dark Revival. As a failed experiment and someone relatively new to the studio, she was able to give a somewhat different point of view on the state of the world. We've purposely left it unclear if Betty was in on Wilson's plot to harvest Audrey or if she was just a bystander. Behind her mask, there are still answers to be found. It's a very pretty game, and I did enjoy it. I feel like they really missed out on a big opportunity. I love there's a cash register here. It's like the admissions booth. I feel like they missed out on a big opportunity to have Bendy be a more present threat. And they've left a lot of questions unanswered that are probably going to be answered in the long run, or are there for the sake of theory crafting. I'm sure there's at least the intention for a third game. So we'll see how things go. But this appears to be the end, for unlike Bendy and the Ink Machine, there does not appear to be a reason to play back through it to find new things. So, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and pause here. Thank you for watching, and this has been Bendy and the Dark Revival. See you on the next game.